Hello guys, my name is Panda. Welcome back to the channel. It's a new month, so we have a new broadcast to debunk. This time from Robert Zeranko, helper to the writing committee. This month's broadcast is surprisingly tame compared to the fanatical clusterfudge from last month.
Bah. Goodbye, little sheep.
But there are a few gems to excavate here. So consider this a highlight version of our monthly broadcast. Robbie will show us the marvelous new indoctrination tool, fresh from the governing body's spiritual bakery. We will also revisit our old pal Jade, as she goes from Bible student to Bible teacher. And our good friend Corey will share the dramatic journey of keeping his virginity intact throughout his high school years. Are you excited? Cause I definitely am. And you know what to do with every ExJW video? Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps this video get out to more people. Without further ado, let's begin.
For over 100 years, Jehovah's organization has been producing books to help us teach people Bible truths. Do you remember when some of these study books were released? This Means Everlasting Life was released in 1950. The Truth That Leads to Eternal Life in 1968. You Can Live Forever in Paradise on Earth in 1982. And Knowledge That Leads to Everlasting Life in 1995. What did those titles have in common? They show that it's possible for a person to learn what Jehovah requires to live forever. And that's why we keep searching for people who are rightly disposed for everlasting life and who are willing to study the Bible with us. All of those books and several more that we published since then have been instrumental in helping people become believers in our wonderful hope for the future.
I still have one of these books in my parents' home, and this is a picture that I will never forget. This, my friends, is called Old Light. Previous teachings from Watchtower that are now outdated and not considered truth. But when this book was released, this was the truth. My parents came into the religion believing this doctrine. The teaching is clear as day. There will be individuals belonging to the generation of 1914 that would not pass away until the arrival of Armageddon. But in 2013, the governing body threw that teaching into the garbage bin. Now it's old light, and anyone who still believes in it would be considered an apostate. That's only one example. These old study books are full of old, outdated light.
In 2021, we added one more book to the list entitled Enjoy Life Forever, an Interactive Bible Course.
If the information in these books has now become outdated, how are you so sure that this new study tool will not become outdated too? After all, today's new light is tomorrow's old light until the end of time.
This newest study publication is very different from all the others that we've produced. In this broadcast, we want to explain what went on behind the scenes to produce Enjoy Life Forever.
Also, note that the governing body is suspiciously absent from this month's broadcast, but we're still gonna count how many times they're mentioned, okay? So we're gonna keep a count on that.
Under the direction of the governing body, hundreds of Bethelites around the world worked very hard to make it possible for us to have this innovative study tool. However, they'll be quick to say that all credit for this goes to Jehovah. The faithful and discreet slave has always taken very seriously Jesus' command recorded at Matthew 28:19. Go and make disciples of people of all the nations, baptizing them. And that's what our Bible study activity aims to accomplish. For decades, our method of conducting studies was to study printed material paragraph by paragraph. When answering the questions for the paragraphs, some students would often just repeat what was stated in the book. However, it was hard to know whether the truth was really touching their heart. With Enjoy Life Forever, we're using a different method of teaching that generates candid expressions by the students in their own words. This is just what the governing body feels is needed to bring new ones to dedication and baptism during these urgent last days. As directed by the governing body, the writing department researched, wrote, and proofread the text for each lesson. When world headquarters and the branches were locked down, 60% of the project still needed to be completed. And yet the governing body had given it high priority.
Now during this next section, the team behind the production of Enjoy Life Forever relates how they carried out their assignment. Programming, art design, testing it in the field, thousands of hours of work that could have better been used, feeding hungry people, but were rather spent finishing this convoluted indoctrination manual. Remember in the first century, when all a person needed to do to get baptized was learn a bit about Jesus and start believing in him? Well folks, the future is now, and Watchtower tells us that students need to read a 250-page manual in order to become disciples.
Over 250 pages of text, 597 images, 121 video boxes, 840 links, and 62 QR codes.
Ironically, and this is the best part for me, Jesus is not even mentioned until lesson 15 of this book. Wouldn't it be wiser for Watchtower to baptize people as early as possible? That way the new student is unable to leave peacefully once they reach lesson 54 and realize, whoa, I think I'm in a cult. By making this study tool so long, Watchtower shot itself in the foot, I believe, and people are now less likely to finish the book before running out the exit door. Bigger does not always mean better, Watchtower.
We saw firsthand how Jehovah uses his organization to give us what we need at the right time, even with the pandemic. The results show me that Jehovah was in control of the project.
With the governing body wholeheartedly embracing the project and everyone on the production team willingly giving their all, we could see clear evidence of Jehovah's backing.
Bro, where is your proof? In what part of this story do you see clear indication of divine intervention? I'll tell you what I saw. A group of well-intentioned volunteers working their asses off to finish this project in time. Ironically, none of this would have been possible without the extensive use of technology provided by the geniuses of Satan's world. Jehovah had nothing to do with this project.
Now that we've seen what Jehovah has wonderfully done for us, what must we do for him?
Oh, I love this so much. Look at what Jehovah has done for you. Now let's see what you can do for us. I mean, for him.
As we conduct Bible studies, we have to try our best to make disciples, teaching them to observe all the things Jesus has commanded. We need to help people understand how important it is for them to take their stand for Jehovah and his kingdom. This means trying to motivate people to make the truth their own by applying what they learn, dedicating their life to Jehovah, and getting baptized. Only then will they survive Jehovah's Day.
There you go. If you needed a reminder that only baptized Jehovah's Witnesses will survive Armageddon, it's clear as day here.
We want as many right-hearted persons as possible to become Jehovah's willing, loyal witnesses. Here are 7 suggestions you can write down now and try later. They really work. The first and most important is pray for a Bible study. Never underestimate the power of prayer. So be specific in your prayers and keep praying for studies. Work in harmony with your prayers by offering studies at every opportunity, including to your relatives and acquaintances.
This might seem like innocent advice, but it's actually quite harmful. When a witness is told to pray for a Bible study and no matter how hard they try, they fail to get one, the guilt ends up falling on them. Maybe they didn't pray often enough. Maybe they need to improve their methods. Watchtower can't recognize that the main reason why most people would never start a Bible study is because they don't care. For various reasons, they're not interested in studying the Bible, especially with such a strange religion like JW's. Awful advice. Pray until you find someone you can manipulate into your high control religion. This just doesn't work.
Ask non-witness marriage mates. When was the last time they were offered a Bible study? Even if they had declined an offer in the past, they might be interested now, and they may prefer to study with someone outside their family.
These people don't know how to respect proper boundaries. Maybe if a marriage mate doesn't want to study, it's because they know their partner is stuck in a cult. Did you consider that, Robbie? This section is over, but I just want to reiterate, This new study tool is garbage.
How amazing is Jehovah?
Sure, there's more artwork and videos, but that just makes the lessons longer and more mind-numbing. The lessons read like a first grade textbook. It's not engaging at all. Only time will tell how effective this book turns out to be, but I don't think this cult manual can stop Watchtower's ever-present decline. Burn, baby, burn.
Do you remember when we first met Nita and Jade during the 2020 Always Rejoice convention? That series provided so many valuable lessons about what it takes to be an effective teacher. This month, we have another new dramatization. And in this episode, the story has come full circle, with Jade now conducting her first Bible study using Enjoy Life Forever.
So, what's your biggest question about life?
Why are people so obsessed with kicking round objects?
Well, there's that, but seriously, anything?
Why do people hate? If we're all God's children, what's the deal?
Good question, and one the Bible definitely answers. But you've a train to catch, so we'll stop there. But is Tuesday still good?
Assuming space-time hasn't collapsed into a singularity, I'm open.
Singularity. I find it hilarious every time Watchtower tries to portray a worldly person. People don't talk like this. Who's making these scripts?
Okay, cool. So, on Tuesday, we'll carry on with... Hey!
So, how's the study going?
Brilliant. We're zipping right through the easy stuff. So, what I love about this prophecy is that it was written like 200 years before it actually happened, and every single detail came true. The men in charge just left the gates open. I mean, I would have fired anyone that got drunk and left the city gates open.
By the way, this prophecy Jade is talking about is not even a prophecy. This part of the book of Isaiah was written decades after the alleged events it predicted. Even Christian scholars of the Bible who are still believers acknowledge this. It's really tragic seeing such a bright, skeptical girl like Jade now parroting the same exact pseudo-history Watchtower produces. Jade, next time please do your homework.
Anyway, back to the prophecy.
So God is love, but he's gonna kill billions. How's that work?
Well, it'll make sense later. But for now, let's just focus on what I was talking about earlier. What's so nice about this chapter is that it's talking about...
It will make sense later. How about it starts making sense now, Jade? Your student just asked you a very important question. If God is love, why will he murder the billions? It's actually mind-blowing how self-aware Watchtower has become lately. It's almost like they've been reading all the apostate forums or something. This question is never even addressed later, by the way. But maybe that's the point, because as this kind Redditor pointed out, their objective is for the viewer to associate these kind of deep questions with annoying and disinterested people. It's almost like answering these questions is not even worth your time.
About prayer. Well, it's talking about how Jehovah helps us with prayer. And so it's really lovely because we can pray to someone that's basically all of this is evidence of the last days. So what would you say are the signs of the last days?
Wars, disasters, rude people. Yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. That's fine. We can just, we'll just review it in the next lesson. It's fine. Do you want to just wrap it up now then?
Yeah.
Is everything okay?
Blissful. I'm gonna go.
All right, bye, Gladys. But seriously, I really put myself into the study to try and make it live, and I get yes, no, maybe, or another insufferable off-topic question.
God is love, but he's gonna kill billions. How's that work?
Insufferable off-topic question. Fuck off, Jade.
Maybe let's do a bit of research.
I knew you'd say that.
I'll put the kettle on.
Thanks.
Here we go.
The ultimate team up. Jade and Nita. They make such a cute couple, don't they?
Jade, I'm not really the drum roll type. Oh, hey.
Hi, I'm Nita, one of Jade's roommates. And you're...
Gladys.
So, let's start with the question you hit me with last time, which is, why do we stay neutral when we see injustice?
I take it you've had your fair share? Me too. Although, not as bad as my mum and dad, from what they tell me.
But how will things ever change if we don't do something about it?
Let's see what the Bible has to say. In Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 23. Could you read that?
Jeremiah 10 is, of course, taken out of context. Verse 23 is the beginning of Jeremiah's prayer, a short petition in which the prophet Jeremiah, aware of Jerusalem's imminent destruction, laments over the poor choices of his people. That's why he says it does not belong to man to direct the step. This is not a Bible verse directing us to remain neutral in politics, because if you keep reading, Jeremiah actually asks God to punish the nations that have oppressed Israel. That wasn't very neutral of you, Jeremiah. It's almost like the prophet was standing up against injustice, the very opposite of what Jehovah's Witnesses are instructed to do. Remain totally complacent.
But if that's true, then the future of the human race is looking quite bleak. Does that mean then that...
This girl had a lot of insightful questions that Jade had no answer to. I don't think her Bible study will go on for too long, especially if it's based on the new Enjoy Life Forever book.
Jade was excited to conduct a study, but she learned that making disciples takes more than just enthusiasm.
This has to be one of the most boring speakers I've seen on the broadcast. He's just beaming with joy, isn't he? Best life ever. The next part talks about becoming better at conducting Bible studies. Boring! And how to know if it's time to cancel a study.
Unfortunately, it seemed better to discontinue the study because she showed that she didn't feel the need to make progress.
I guess they weren't deserving of everlasting life, I guess.
Hola.
Then we get more presentations from this brother from Latin America. Wey, no mames, qué aburrido. Siguiente. Then we get a morning worship session on why Jehovah hates prejudice. And I absolutely love how they had to use the black brother for the talk, knowing how Watchtower has only had one black brother serving in the governing body during its century of existence. For a God who hates prejudice, Jehovah sure has a preference for white old men to be leaders of his organization.
As teachers, we have to help them prepare for the pressures they'll face in school. And those pressures are more intense now than ever, especially when it comes to sexual immorality. In this episode of My Teen Life, we'll hear from two young people who successfully resisted the temptations to have sex. How do they do it?
Well, every day in high school, my classmates would talk about sex.
They would just talk about, their boyfriends and girlfriends, what they did with them, over the weekend, what they're going to do.
They, of course, knew that I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses and that I wouldn't engage in premarital sex, but that did not stop them from pushing.
Guys would invade my personal space. Sometimes they would even try to, grab or touch me.
One day, A girl in class, she asked me to touch her inappropriately. Of course, I rejected her, but she even resorted to calling me names. She called me lame, and she said that I must be gay.
It seemed to be a game to them to try to break me and try to get me to do things with them. But the fact that I wouldn't give in, they thought it was fun or funny.
It got to the point where this became very physical. I had 2 classmates behind me that were pushing me. One classmate on each side of me, grabbing my arms and pushing me, trying to make me touch her. And I knew that it was time to get out of there.
Being one of Jehovah's Witnesses, I was already very different in school, but I was also very shy. So at times I wanted to fit in with the crowd so I wouldn't have that attention on me. But I knew that this would displease Jehovah if I, went with the crowd and did what the other kids were doing.
Well, I did say a quick silent prayer to Jehovah. I said, Jehovah, just please help. I immediately in my mind thought of Joseph. He was able to free himself from Potiphar's wife, but he was able to get away because of his resolve to please Jehovah. And that's exactly what I knew I needed to do. And I did just that. I ran right out of the classroom.
Personal study was very important. And this made Jehovah really real to me. The more real he was to me, the more I didn't want to displease him and hurt him. Having that relationship with him and having that trust in him really helped me get through those situations of wanting to fit in and go with the crowd.
Rejecting that girl was not easy, but I did know that it was the right thing to do. Shortly before this incident, my grandmother actually prepared me. She would prepare Watchtower articles for me that talked about how to deal with temptation. Although those talks with her were super duper awkward, if I'm being honest, they really helped me to stay spiritually strong and to resist the temptation.
All you need to do is trust in Jehovah, because if you trust in him, then everything is going to be okay.
The publication that really helped me the most was the Young People Ask book, Volume 2, Chapter 5, Why Stay a Virgin? This book was really a lifesaver for me. Reading about how some of my peers all around the world are dealing with the exact same temptation really gave me a sense of comfort and helped me to feel that I was not alone.
Well, I'm really grateful to Jehovah and the organization for the love that they show to us young ones to help us feel not alone and to help us push through these difficult situations.
Well, I'm so thankful to Jehovah for recalling scriptures like 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18, which says, flee from sexual immorality. And I'm happy to say that I was able to do just that. But really what makes me the happiest is knowing that I made Jehovah happy, and there is no greater feeling than that.
I just had to let all that play complete, let you soak the cringe in. So awkward. Sweetheart, are you okay? Blink twice if you need help, please. I mean, they were talking so fast, and I don't know why the filmmakers decided to play both experiences interchangeably. The format just felt very choppy, I'm not gonna lie. I do like Corey, he seems like a chill dude, and there's no way he's still a virgin. I mean, look at him, he just screams ladies, man. He's got charisma for sure. Once he wakes up and leaps the cult, he's gonna look back on this video and have a good laugh. And also, this was literally a perfect opportunity to talk about sexual harassment and how to avoid it. Both Corey and this cardboard girl were basically being harassed at school. It's sadly a very common thing. But no, Watchtower instead decided to focus on why sex before marriage is bad, just brandishing their particular brand of sexual purity. Same old garbage, different coat of paint. The broadcast ends with a new original song, using a very Studio Ghibli inspired art style. And I gotta be honest, I actually enjoyed this one. The singing wasn't too bad and the cartoon could use some improved coloring, but you can tell the art department had a lot of fun with this one. I gotta give credit where credit is due.
I was told not to preach, but I cannot bend. God is my ruler rather than man.
Yeah, the message of this song is more persecution porn, because this is a Watchtower product after all, but nothing like the horrific original song from last month. so I will gladly take this. And with that, we come to the end of this month's broadcast, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think of the new brochure, of the new Jade episode, of the new anime song? I want to hear all your opinions, okay? So don't leave before leaving your comment. And if you appreciate my work and would like to support me, the best way you can do so is through Patreon. For only $1 a month, you gain early access to all of my videos, and you really help me keep this channel running. If you are unable to join Patreon at this time, I will gladly take your like and your comment. It really helps the channel so much. Thank you once again, guys, and I'll see you next time.